of fact, I really didn't even know Jehovah's name. I didn't know Jesus. I didn't know nothing like that. And I was born in Lexington, Kentucky, and my mom and my dad had kind of, split apart when I was 5 years old. We went down to Massachusetts and Boston and split apart because my dad had, gotten into a fight with my mom, and the cops was called, and he had went to jail that night. Well, I got older and kept getting pulled back from place to place. And when I got pulled, it just seemed like I had a void in my life that nothing was ever made whole. I don't even need this mic, praise the Lord, but nothing was ever to a point where I was made whole, where I felt like I knew who I was. And I got 13 years old, and I started gangbanging, and I started selling drugs. And I didn't know who I was. I was caught up with the Crips, and I thought I was Mr. Bad Guy, that I could have what I wanted, when I wanted, and whenever I wanted. That the whole world revolved around me. That's how I felt. Because at the time, I really didn't know no better. And I got locked up. I was in Pendleton County. I was selling drugs on school property. I had stopped because my fiance told me, she says, you're doing wrong, and you got to get up and you got to stop this. I stopped 2 months before I got locked up. They locked me up at age 15, and they sent me away from the school. They pulled me out of the school, took me to the courthouse, sent me away, and I went to this place called Chick Buckby. It was a full maximum security lockdown facility. And right then I realized, hey, I got myself in a big mess. I realized that there was no way myself could have took me out of it. I didn't know who I was. I was stuck in the past because the past never seen the future. It never seen the present. Well, it got to the point where I didn't know who I was at all. So 2 months went by, and I said, I'm going to start going to church. I started going to church, and as soon as I started going to church, God started revealing things to me. And I got saved. And then it was December 18th. They said, you're going back to court, you'll be released. Praise the Lord, I've been praying to the Lord that I'll be released and that I'll be able to go home for Christmas. The judge said, no, you're going back to Chick Buckby. So they sent me back, and I spent Christmas in Chick Buckby. And my family, they wasn't the things that we had there. Sometimes for breakfast you get bread and water. It was hard. And every day, I tell you, every day that I didn't pray to the Lord, I would feel like I was nothing. And I started praying to the Lord every day and realized that it was time to put religion aside and start living like a true Christian. It was time to start putting a religion aside and stop saying that these principles, that these